Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the SH Figuarts Street Fighter, not 4, 5, or 6, Guile Outfit 2, which is maybe the weirdest thing to come out of Bandai in a while. This line was probably long thought to be dead, completely. It was a very strange line that didn't really match any of the games despite the various names being on the packaging, and then it just kind of disappeared. And now all of a sudden we have 2 repaints of Ryu and Chun-Li, fine enough. That makes sense, you know, try to sell something because a new Street Fighter game came out. But then all of a sudden we also get Guile, which is still very much in the same vein as the original figures, but also pretty different. Weird stuff all the way around, but I'm going to show it to you and you guys can decide if you want to get it or not. So let's go ahead and get them off the stand and take a closer look. Okay, before we get into the figure, let's take a quick look at the package. It is quite different from the other packages. Not terribly different, but it seems to stand out a little bit to me. I don't have them handy to show you all the different packages, but I'm pretty sure it's pretty different. I could be wrong, but you can check out their reviews up there if you're curious. Yeah, it doesn't even say which Street Fighter this is from, but it does say Outfit 2. Somebody can track it down. I'm guessing that's a Street Fighter 6 thing. Is that what they're talking about? Is Outfit 2? Is the classic outfit? I don't know. I didn't get 6. But this is just weird. To be specific there and not there is very strange, and also the look for Guile is very strange. It almost has a Street Fighter 4 look, especially in the photos. Luckily, I'll say, they showed images like this one or any of these as solicitation photos, and he looked pretty damn dorky. The figure itself isn't. Oh, there you go. The figure itself isn't as bad, luckily, but in some ways it is. So there's the package. Okay, let's do a height measurement. This is a very strange release. If for some reason you do end up wanting this, it is in stock at Big Bad Toy Store. I'll put a link in the description below. Maybe you're like me and you just like Street Fighter and you buy anything that's not absolute garbage. Let me know. Alright, so this guy's about 16.5 centimeters to the top of his hair. That's going to be about, let's call it 6.5 inches. Here he is up against Darwin. Easily mixed in with Marvel Legends. Alright, so I know everybody's going to say, but Jade is making it, and so I don't need this, and that's very possibly the case for you, but other people have already collected all of the figures in this line, and maybe they want any more that come out, maybe they want both, maybe they only want these import ones. There are benefits to it, and there are some good things about this figure. I don't know. There's all kinds of different things. I'm not going to just not review a line because there's another line that's cheaper that's really good. There's different things for different people, different strokes for different folks. So, question of the day, what are you collecting Street Fighter-wise these days? Did you buy all of the other SH Figuarts ones and you want this one? Do you want this one anyway? Do you not want this one? Are you into Jada? Let me know. I'm getting all of it. Okay, so let's talk about this. It's highly detailed, kind of, sort of. He's got a weird look to him, but if you look, he looks way more realistic than the other SH Figuarts Street Fighters. Like, Chun-Li was super anime. Ryu, too, pretty dang close to anime. His skin has texturing on it. Sculpted texturing. Veins. Highly detailed sculpts. His shirt is wrinkled like crazy. His pants, kind of a crappy camo paint job, but still, it's not exactly the anime look that they were going for with most of the other figures. That was a really weird thing. Like, Sagat was orange and small. Vega was very stylized in his look. The line was all over the place, and this guy is equally all over the place in terms of being different from the other ones. But I have to say, the matte finish, all the way across, but then the matte finish on most of the clothing, the flat finish, and the detailed sculpt work on the body, there's stuff to like, for sure. The paint job for the dog tags is remarkably well done. I mean, it's a bold move to go for sculpted dog tags, but they nailed the paint on that. It's surprisingly clean. Like, if you get in close with the camera, you can see it's not perfect everywhere, but that is one of the cleanest, very specific paint jobs I have ever seen. It's nuts. Weird that it's on there, but it doesn't detract from the figure not having actual dog tags. American flag on there is pretty decent. Same on both sides, kind of big, but whatever. The face, this is not the face that comes on him in the package. It's one of the alt faces because it looked better. I don't mind it. It's not bad. The eyes are weird. I'll talk about that more when we get to the faces. The eyes are really weird, but it's not the worst Guile face I've ever seen. And it's partly because I don't know which game this is from, but it looks like it's a mix of 4 and 5 if you ask me. Doesn't look like 6 at all. The proportions in 6 are wildly different than this. So I don't know what's going on. I don't know what this is from, what exactly they're going for. but it's still appealing. It's a nice enough looking figure. I don't like, you guys know I don't like articulation like this, but aesthetically it looks decent. There is shading in the skin. It's a weird color they used. It's like a grayish brown. It's not as noticeable in person as it is on camera, so I don't care that much, but it's weird. You don't shade skin with grayish brown. Anyway, yeah, it's a weird looking figure, but also it looks solid enough. Like, I'm happy as a collector to have it. As a reviewer, it's a weird combination of things. The chest is fairly narrow. Once you pose it, that's not going to be super noticeable. I mean, it's not narrow overall, but the sculpted pecs are because of the way they did the butterfly joint. And we're going to talk about the articulation, of course, but there's enough to like about this guy so far that it's fine. I could definitely see people wanting this and the Jada one. It's not like you have to pick one or the other. I mean, we collect toys, so you might as well buy another one if you like it. That's how that works. I know you guys know how that goes. There's always room for one more. So yeah, aesthetically it's weird, but also solid in a lot of ways. Somewhere 7.5, 8. It's almost really good in some ways. The face is kind of pale compared to the rest of the body, though. That's not my lighting. I'll go 7.5. I want to say 8. As a person, not a reviewer, I would say maybe even 8.5. I kind of like a lot of stuff going on here. But as a reviewer, it's kind of weird. So I'll stick with 7.5. Alright, for accessories, you get the... I'll just show you the 3 faces. You get the one where he's looking off to the side a little bit. That's the one that comes on him in the package. That has his eyes very narrow. Then you get the neutral one, which has his eyes pretty wide. And then you get the yelling one, which has his eyes even wider. And they're all sculpted really weird. They're kind of lumpy looking, so it kind of looks like Street Fighter 4 to me. But the weirdest thing ever is the eyes themselves. The paint job is like super basic and anime looking, even though the rest of the figure isn't. And they're colored neon green and yellow. And the paint job is bad. I don't know what they're doing, but the neutral head looks good enough that I'll be probably okay leaving that on there, I guess. But none of the faces look like the same guy. It's really weird. Alright, for hands, 2 fist hands and a few other pose hands. One to hold his comb, which has 0 paint on it. I mean, it's painted, but there's no detail. So, maybe it's not even painted. Really basic. But one of the things this line did get right is the effect parts. They added effect parts with all the figures, and Guile's Sonic Boom, definitely good enough. Love the way it looks. Very, very pleased with that. Would have been nice to get a flash kick also. Just make that bigger, but whatever. And then probably the best accessories of all time. They didn't come out good in the first place. I can't speak English. I can't even speak English. In the first place, when they first released this line, these were always warped and crappy looking, and now they're even more warped and crappy looking. So you get that. If you need the backdrop, they're not. Is that wrong? I have it wrong. Is it though? I mean, no, that's a plane from the back. Okay, I was looking at this part and I was like, that's not wrong. There, it goes like this. But it still doesn't look good. Like, it's not the best printout ever. It's okay, I guess, but they're warped to all hell. And so I don't see how anybody's going to use those in an effective way. So as far as accessories go, I'll just go 7 out of 10. I love the effect part, love that we have alternate hands and faces, but those cardstock pieces of garbage are still pieces of garbage. Now, the articulation on this guy, people are saying, hey, those elbows are weird. And I'm like, yeah, they are. I'm pretty sure, and it looks to me like I'm right. They're mostly still using I think they called it the fighting body articulation that was on Kinnikuman. A lot of these guys, all of these guys had it. The elbows in particular make it noticeable. Same thing for the butterfly joints. The rest, I think, is not that. This is a weird release. So for the head, it is just some ball pegs going on up here and down here, so you can move it around pretty well. It's not the best thing in the world. The neck doesn't have a ton of range, but ball pegs do work. I wish the head fit better, or the face fit better onto the hair, by the way. I didn't mention that before. It's not super obvious when you're not uptight with the camera, but still it's weird. So ball pegs up there, I'll take it. Now we do have this garbage butterfly joint, which is okay enough for bringing the arm forward some, but not much. Like, it looks okay. As far as butterflies look, they look okay, but it doesn't do much. It just kind of wiggles around in its one spot there and comes forward a little bit, and it's fine, but it's not especially good. Now the thing that's especially bad is the shoulder. Great for sculpt work, but you can't raise the arm very far. Now it's not as ugly as something like a Revoltech or something like that, because it's essentially the same type of joint. A lot less gapping down there, but a lot less range also. If they'd just done it like a regular freaking shoulder where this whole area was the ball hinge, you'd have much better range, and you could still make it look good. But as you can see, because of the sculpt work, I think you're going to be able to pose this guy pretty well to make him look alright. So, despite the shoulder being relatively bad, I don't think it's that bad. Like, you're going to get the range you need to get most poses done. There's no bicep swivel in the actual shoulder, which sucks. But you can do nice shoulder shrug type thing. Like, that shoulder's up high, so you should be able to get him into somewhat of a boxing type stance, which is kind of how he stands. So anyway, you have the double jointed elbow, which gives you a little bit better than 90, not a ton. You get the swivel down there, which isn't great for a lot of things, but it does help in some ways for posing. Usually you want the swivel down there for like a double-handed sword holding pose or something like that. Don't really need it for Guile, but it'll work for a sonic boom, I guess. But yeah, the elbow is just god-awful. It is hideous. It's one of the worst things Bandai's ever made. And that's basically how the Kinnikuman figures were, which is how this all started. And I don't know why they are still using it. It's not good. It wasn't then, it's still not, especially on a sculpt that's more or less realistic looking. So it's weird. Now, if you don't look at it up close, it doesn't matter because he still bends well enough, but it is an ugly, ugly joint. The wrists are on little ball hinges. That'll be fine. The torso, ball pegs, not the best range ever, but definitely good enough. Like, it's not a bad figure. Is it expensive? Yes. I think all of their Street Fighter figures have been overly expensive. I think this guy's 80 bucks. He is in stock if you want him at Big Bad Toy Store, but he is, I think it's 80 bucks. I can't remember now. I got a lot going on right now, and I ordered bunches of things lately to get reviews done before the move, but anyway, it poses well enough. Like, everything about this guy is probably good enough that you're not going to hate owning it. I think that's how I ended up feeling about Vega, even though he was kind of a turd. Same thing with Sagat. This one's better than those two, I think. For the hips, he can kick up to just better than horizontal without any weird drop downs or anything like that. Almost full on splits. So like, this is definitely a more modern looking design. I don't think that's how the Kinnikuman figures were. I don't think it is. But yeah, pretty good range in the hips. Thigh swivel, that's kind of non-existent. It's barely there. Double jointed knee is not the best looking thing, but it's okay. They did a lot of poses for the solicitations with just the top joint bent, which made his lower leg look really long. You don't really want to do that. You want to bend just the bottom one if you're going to do that, and it'll look a little bit better. Yeah, it's not the best knee ever, but it'll do. There's a little bit of rotation in there if you need that. Don't know why you would. You get the boot rotation, so that's nice. And then you get really good range on the foot going back. Pretty good range going forward. Toe hinge is big and obnoxious and okay, but it's really soft, so I wouldn't use it too much. You get an okay ankle rocker. So yeah, it's not like it's a terrible figure by any means. It looks way better in hand than it does in the solicitation photos. Like, it's not even close. I hated the way it looked in the solicitation photos. At least this neutral face is perfectly acceptable for me. I don't love it, but it's fine. And the articulation's fine. I'll give the articulation a 7. Yeah, I think you're going to hit most poses. Like, nothing crazy, but most that you need to do for Guile, I think he can probably do it. So yeah, I'll stick with 7. So, time for the final verdict on this guy. What a weird thing. I'm definitely still personally happy that they're making SH Figuarts Street Fighter figures. I don't really care if they're overpriced, if they're good enough that I'm going to enjoy them. I mean, I don't want them to be overpriced, but I'm going to buy them. And I feel that way about this one. I think if you were into that line as it was coming out, if you still have them, this is a pickup. It's too much money for sure. 80 bucks. That's, I don't know if Capcom's just going nuts with licensing, but I doubt it given the Jada line. So I don't know what's going on with Bandai. But there's a lot to like about this figure, way more than I thought I was going to like. Objectively, it's still weird as hell, but there's still some good stuff to it. So I'm going to give it an overall rating of 7. With a personal rating of, I like it more than a 7. I don't know what I would rate it actually personally, but I enjoy it. It is a weird release though, but it's probably one of the better ones for this particular line. Let me know how you guys feel about it. It's a very strange thing, but I think I've added all I can to the conversation. So there it is. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. And if you haven't subscribed, you should. I have new videos just about every single day and thousands already on the channel. So make sure you come back for all of that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.